gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, I can still get shot by the police, but I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's a Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's get into the video.
Sure, those criminals moved quickly through the Bucktown neighborhood, robbing multiple people within only a few minutes. A developing investigation leads detectives inside of this physical therapy facility on Western and Bucktown to speak with Aubrey Pertel. She says her client's husband was robbed after just dropping off his wife.
So the robberies are going up in Chicago, obviously, violent crimes going up. And the left continues to say that, you know, it's just these criminals are looking to feed their families. And we all know that that's BS. All right. They're just hitting licks for the hell of it, for the fun of it. Most of the time, they're not pawning off any of the things that they find. They're not taking vehicles to the chop shop. They're just doing it for an adrenaline rush and terrorizing the city, all in the name of systematic oppression.
He said a silver car pulled up as he was walking back from his car. A guy got out and held a gun, not even trying to hide it by his waist or anything. He just held it straight out.
So this is the emboldenedness that we were talking about a couple of years ago. I mean, guys, go back to my catalog. We've been talking about this for the longest, right? The emboldenedness of the super gremlin. They're pulling the strap out, open carrying in a state that gun laws are, you know, one of the strictest, or not a state, but a city that gun laws are one of the strictest. You're not supposed to have guns like that in Chicago, and you got these guys open carrying, permitless open carry. I mean, it's absolutely insane.
It happened around 2:20 this afternoon near Moffett and Milwaukee. Pertel tells me the 35-year-old parked his car there and was on a business call, walking back to the facility when police say two suspects robbed him at gunpoint. That man's robbery, one of at least three that happened today in Bucktown, police say, within just a 10-minute period.
I saw three of them come out. They had black hoodies.
This woman who asked us to conceal her identity says she was forced to hide behind a dumpster when the masked gunmen pulled up on a member of her church at this alley on Wabansia near Francisco.
Dang, I just did a video. I just did a video a couple weeks ago saying the super gremlins were robbing churches of their tithes and offering. I mean, am I calling it or am I calling it? These super gremlins are on demon time.
Avenue just before 2:30. She says that's when a second man, her neighbor, came outside after forgetting his house keys.
He had his key on the gate, then he forgot he had the key, came back out, and that's when a guy came and put the gun on his chest.
These attacks come just 24 hours after another frightening robbery in that same neighborhood. That crime was captured on surveillance video that we frozen before the first punch.
It was his first day on the job. He was just going out for lunch, and this happened to him.
Gene Pearson says the victim was enjoying his meal Monday in this alley near Damon and Armitage when two people beat and robbed the man.
From what I understand, he's recovering, and yeah, it's just a horrible and sad thing to see anyone go through.
And neighbors say right now they are raising funds for the man in the video's medical expenses. Police say no one was hurt in today's robberies, and so far, no one is in custody.
We begin with a story that is developing tonight. Chicago police are investigating a series of armed robberies citywide.
Yeah. Look at this armed robbery map. It's absolutely insane. The super gremlins are going up and down the coast of the city and just boom, destroying what's left of it. I mean, like I said, I don't know how this city is even livable at this point, but people still tend to fill it up, and the rents are still going up, and people are paying it. So, I mean, they must be making a lot of money for it to be worth it, because it ain't never been worth your life.
died. Just last night, at least 8 were reported in the past 24 hours. NBC5's Lexi Suter is speaking with community activists who are now issuing a reward for answers.
In the heart of the South Loop, 2 25-year-old women were held at gunpoint last night, but the crime didn't stop there. At least 8 armed robberies were reported, also stretching into the north side, where we know at least 2 delivery drivers were victims.
The armed robbery and carjacking in the city of Chicago is out of hand.
That's why community activist Dr. Kim T, joined by Raul Montes Jr., held a call for action on this Sunday.
Residents are scared. They can't even have a peace living in their own home.
Residents like Mr. Shi, who spoke with NBC5 2 weeks ago after he was attacked and carjacked in Chinatown.
Damn.
This security video showing the crime unfolding in broad daylight.
Stop Asian hate. Stop Asian hate. Stop Asian hate. Guys, I've been saying this. You have to say it 3 times, like swipe or no swiping. And at some point, the Asians are going to have to put up some karate, some kung fu, something to defend themselves. But this has to stop. Like I've said this before, all of the solidarity and companionship that was built between blacks and Chinese, you know, through the Rush Hour series 1, 2, 3, and 4, for that matter. I mean, it's been destroyed within the last couple of years. And it's sad to see, because that Jackie Chan, Chris Tucker union was a staple in the community and in the Chinese community. I mean, I bonded with a lot of my college dorm mates my freshman year who were Asian. You know, they were Korean, but they were Asian nonetheless. And I bonded with them through Rush Hour. We used to watch Rush Hour all the time. And, you know, we used to laugh about it. And now it just seems like all of that is being dismantled within the span of a few years. And it's sad.
To me, and then they hold me, you know, and they took my car key, you know.
And these are women. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this isn't an elderly man, but guys, y'all have to be able to defeat this. Y'all got to find the cheat code to beating these sisters up. But they are big. I ain't gonna lie. Short, all of them are 200 pounds.
And I fighting them. Then I try to block them, and then they start my car and they'll go away.
Mr. Shi, right here in Chinatown, fortunately.
And I guarantee those women have kids. These super single mother sister gremlins are on demon time.
2 suspects were arrested and 1 still at large. We want the third one get arrested right now, so that they do not harm other residents in the area.
The community activists are calling on leadership to make some changes, including adding more security cameras around the city in hopes of catching more of these violent offenders.
We want the crime to stop immediately. The city leaders need to step up and give more power to Chicago police so that they could do their job.
The community activists say they are offering a $5,000 reward for the arrest and conviction of the suspects in these cases. Reporting from Chinatown, Lexi Suter, NBC5 News.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy Jenquavius Jackson, and y'all already know I'm demonetized and shadow banned in this bitch. So if you want to contribute, go to the Cash App, the PayPal, the GoFundMe, or join the Patreon. Also, don't forget to visit the merch store for all your favorite BGZM News 17 gear, including our exclusive Trump is a Blood t-shirt. Go fast before they sell out. They are already flying off the shelves, no cap. And remember, these super gremlins are on demon time.
It's going to destroy our business. It's going to destroy our hopes and dreams.
New tonight, Chicago's migrant crisis creating more tension on the near west side.
A new migrant shelter appears to be opening up there, but it's leaving some business owners angry.
Anthony Ponce has the story.
The bottom floor tenant here at 344 North Ogden is a retail business whose owner tells me that the migrants just moved in the last 24 hours. He says the fact that part of the building that he just signed a lease at is now being used to house migrants will kill his business and cost him in the neighborhood of $100,000.
Damn.
It's devastating. It's devastating. You know, you plan for so long to start a new business. You get excited. You pour loads of your own personal funds into it just to have the landlord come and destroy it.
Thomas DeBoer and his partners just opened.
And he's blaming it on the landlord, but it's not really just the landlords, right? It's the voter bloc in this city. The landlord, he's most likely a leftist as well, and he thinks he's doing the right thing, and he's screwing his tenants, but the government might be paying him more. So it's big bank take little bank at this point. And I don't know, it looks like he's running some type of gambling, maybe some blackjack type thing or poker. Hey, bro, I mean, the Mexicans, Venezuelans, they gamble. They may not have no money, but I'm sure you could get creative. I mean, anything to make the business work and pay your bills, right?
Opened up the Chicago Card Club 2 months ago, investing more than $100,000 in converting the bottom floor of the building into a card-playing lounge and retail space for merchandise and digital trading cards.
When we first got the space, it was actually completely barren. So none of these walls were here, none of these countertops, none of the tile. The flooring was all gone.
But shortly after they got done remodeling, DeBoer says the landlord dropped a bomb that, like it or not, parts of the rest of the building would soon be used for a migrant shelter.
We first heard about the planned migrant shelter about a month ago. So this all happened incredibly quickly. They started construction maybe 2.5 weeks ago. And the migrants moved in today. We already had a successful business here, even though we had only been open for...
And see, they're able to do something real quick for the migrants, but it doesn't work for tax-paying American citizens. Doesn't work that fast. You got to go through all this bureaucracy. You got to go up to the county. Then you got to go to the state. And then you got to, get this permit, that permit. But when it comes to the migrants, I mean, quick, fast, in a hurry. Papers get pushed. Docs get passed. Bills get signed. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't.
Short period of time. But now none of our customers feel comfortable coming back anymore. It's unsafe. As you saw already on day one, there's dozens of people hanging around outside. Our customers don't want to go through that.
The business owner said he is...
Yeah, and they spending big money too. Just to get robbed by, some illegal aliens at the front door. No, thank you.
Planning on suing the landlord to recoup the cost that he and his business partners invested to improve the space here. We did reach out to the building's owner, but have yet to hear back. In the West Loop tonight, Anthony Ponce, Fox 32 Chicago.
So we saw how the migrant crisis was affecting young entrepreneurs, specifically in the suburbs, middle class to upper class, working class people. Now we're going to see how it's affecting the community and what the sisters who, quite frankly, voted all of this stuff in have to say about it.
These South and West Side homeowners are angry. They believe the city has overextended itself and should be putting the tens of millions of dollars earmarked for migrants into Chicago's most vulnerable neighborhoods.
But the South Side has been under-resourced, underfunded for years, for decades. We have schools that need to be reopened. We have buildings that are abandoned that need to be business operated.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good, but how are you going to protect those schools? How are you going to protect those businesses? How are you going to make sure they don't get robbed, they don't get shot up during the construction, the materials aren't looted? And all of these things the community has basically opened the floodgates for after, all the criminal justice reform that they have voted in within the past few years. So we're not going to start seeing a rebuilding of the black community anytime soon.
The group says the city has abandoned its Invest Southwest initiative, a Lightfoot-era program that was dedicated to reversing decades of disinvestment on Chicago's South and West sides, promising to align more than $2.2 billion through public and private funding.
We are taxpayers, we're property owners. Our money should go towards fixing our communities.
The city has received more than 15,000 migrants since August 2022.
We have no more room. Y'all are embarrassing Chicago as a whole.
According to analysis by the ABC7 data team, there are more than...
I'm sorry, but y'all embarrass yourselves. That's on you guys.
20 active migrant shelters across the city, 7 located on the south and west sides.
Whether it's one shelter or whether it's 10 shelters, we're saying the facilities that are there for us, the money needs to be put into those facilities for us.
In a statement from the mayor's office about the group's concerns and the status of Invest Southwest, a spokesperson says in part, quote, "We are committed to continued investment for all residents, but especially communities on the south and west sides that have long experienced disinvestment. We are the city of Chicago, and our shoulders are big enough to support both new arrivals and those who have long called this city home."
Mayor Johnson, the black aldermen, the black alderwomen in this city, you will stand for the black citizens of Chicago.
And that's where you got it wrong, because that's not what you voted for. Brandon Johnson's been saying that he is for illegal immigration. He is for soft on crime policies. He is for violence interrupters rather than police. He is for not criminalizing these insane flash mobs that go on in Chicago and not criminalizing these juvenile delinquents who he calls gatherings is what he liked to call them. I don't know what the hell. So he's been telling you exactly who he is, and y'all blindly went to the polls and voted for him. So I mean, I hope it gets worse, honestly. Am I wrong for just wanting to see it all crash and burn?
Now, the city says Mayor Johnson knows firsthand the impact of neglect on a vulnerable community and that he will never stop investing in people, all people, and delivering the affordable housing, fully funded schools, safer streets, and living wages that every person deserves in this city. So obviously you're hearing the mayor saying that the city has big enough shoulders to handle both the south and west sides, all of the neighborhoods, as well as the new arrivals. But of course, the people you heard from, they believe otherwise, and they're hoping that more attention be focused on the south and west sides.
One of many layers to the migrant crisis.
Yes. Just 1 hour, Joliet residents will be taking on the township board, claiming that they were, quote, blindsided to find out that migrant shelters could soon be popping up in their city.
Casey Cronus is live.
Oh man, and just like I suspected, the migrant shelters are just popping up everywhere, and they're coming to Atlanta too, so maybe I shouldn't be laughing. But I mean, I can't help but just laugh at all of this, because this is exactly what you guys have asked for. I mean, it's a guys, this is what I think. They deserve to, for one, they need to admit that they were wrong. All these leftists, all these liberals, they need to admit that they were wrong. And maybe don't admit it to me, admit it to yourself, and then admit it to your vote this coming election season, and that'll be good enough. But they need to admit that were wrong, and then 2, we need to be able to say, I told you so. We need to be able to rub it in their faces, and we need to be able to be loud about it. Because if we don't do that, then they're gonna think that they were right all along, and it all worked out, and everything's honky-dory. No, this cannot stand. And we need to let them know, hey, this happened because of you. This is what you asked for. Now let me inform you on what you should be asking for. You know, we should be asking for more jobs. We should be asking for more opportunity. We should be asking for law and order. We should be asking for accountability for violent crimes against citizens, law-abiding citizens. These are the things that we should be asking for. But as long as you guys continue to go blindly to the polls, and I know it's not none of my guys, okay, none of my guys on BGZM News 17 who watch this channel, but any newcomers who are looking in, We told you so. And hey, I mean, like I said, I hope it all burns, because this is exactly what you deserve, and this is exactly what you asked for.
Live in Joliet, where we are expecting some fireworks tonight. Casey?
Hey there. Well, prior to this evening's board meeting, which, by the way, does not list this issue as an agenda item, a group of community members that says they were blindsided will be holding a press conference of their own right here in Bicentennial Park. And new today, we are learning some new information. According to the Joliet Patch, the Joliet Park District, which initially agreed to a lease of the Hartman Rec Center to Joliet Township, might be rescinding that offer, claiming it had no knowledge the township wanted to use it as a migrant shelter. This all stems from the recent revelation that Joliet Township applied for and received a state grant of $8.6 million to provide shelter, food, and health care to roughly 1,900 migrants. In addition to the Hartman Rec Center, Township Supervisor Angel Contreras' proposal identified the Peter Claver Center as another migrant shelter. The township is expecting such a large crowd for its 5 o'clock meeting that it moved the location to the auditorium here at Bicentennial Park. Meanwhile, earlier today, when Governor Pritzker was asked how many migrants are already living in the suburbs, he had this to say.
Well, let me be clear that asylum seekers are not required to tell us where they are moving to.
Wow. So asylum seekers are not required to tell the government where they're moving, but U.S. citizens are. All right. I mean, it's absolutely insane. They don't even want to keep track on these people. They don't want to know the number. They just want to flood everybody in and then have you guessing how many years. It's crazy.
They might choose to go to a suburb or anywhere downstate, and some have without us even knowing. And so you would find out only if they're applying for certain kinds of services where they are. We're all trying to work together, but I know there are people who are concerned about the continued migration to Chicago, and that's one of the reasons why for the last 13 months I've been saying to the federal government and to our Congress people that we need not only dollars to help take care of the people who come here, but also have a better system for distribution of folks around the country.
This auditorium fits 350 people plus standing room, and some community members tell us they do expect it to be packed. Some people have already started to trickle in here. Meanwhile, we've reached out multiple times to Supervisor Contreras for a statement, but have not yet heard back. Reporting live in Joliet, Casey Cronus, Fox 32, Chicago.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
You in school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.